What's up, everyone? I just got off the HUMBL Q1 2021 shareholders meeting. I've recorded it for you just in case you were not able to attend. So if you want to listen to my recap, you can skip it to around about the 1 minute and 15 second mark. If you want to listen to Brian Foote directly, skip it to around the 4 minute and 10 second mark. I highly encourage you to watch and listen to what he has to say. Trust me, you don't want to miss it, so stick around. Sawasdee Cup, that's hello in Thai, and welcome to Quantum Finance. My name is Anthony, and I'm a former engineer in data analytics turned entrepreneur and investor. My prior career, I was very successful in creating predictive models for Fortune 500 companies in Silicon Valley using historical data to predict future outcomes. I applied my knowledge to my own portfolio, and in the past 12 months, grew it more than 550%. In this channel, I focus on high growth and disruptive technology stocks for short-term momentum trades and long-term investments. If you're new, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back and thank you for your support. Please help us grow this channel by hitting the sub button below. Make sure to hit the notification button so you get my latest video update. While you're at it, do hit and like and share the video. I will see you down there. Please note that this video is for entertainment purpose only. I'm not licensed. However, that does not mean that I won't present you with facts and trading ideas that will supercharge up your portfolio. No BS and straight to the point. So let's get right into it. Okay, if you just want a short summary, here's my take. Do note that I'll be providing a high view, meaning that some details will be missing. Here are the key points. HUMBL LLC is now changed to HUMBL Inc. The ticker symbol is now TSNPD, which was changed from TSNP. It will change to HMBL by March 26, 2021. So if you're seeing that your stock is being represented by a bunch of numbers, like I'm seeing it in my account, don't worry. It just takes a while for the system to catch up. The 1-for-4 reverse stock split took effect today. So what does this mean? If you have 1,000 shares of TSNP, you will now have 250 shares of TSNPD. Also, you will notice that TSNPD closed at $4.83 today, up $1.43. Guys, this is a whopping 42%. Congrats to those who held on to a HUMBL stock. Okay, Brian Foote, CEO of HUMBL, stated that HUMBL was mentioned on CNBC today. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll take his word for it. Like I have said in my prior video, once HUMBL gets more mass media coverage, this stock will skyrocket to the moon and will create many more millionaires in the near future. Anyway, Brian stated the HUMBL mobile app's launch was delayed 4 to 6 weeks. The technology is not a concern, but it is to make sure that it meets legal, regulatory, and compliance. They have added the mapping and rating features. HUMBL app was designed with a module plug-in platform for the various stages of implementation. Brian announced that they acquired Tickery, a ticketing service, for $20 million. This is a huge deal for HUMBL, as it has a forward-looking into the industry with an upside of $100 billion total addressable market, or TAM. Their goal is to create a one-touch solution with the HUMBL ecosystem to purchase tickets and pay for items related to sports, stadium, festivals, concerts, etc. on a worldwide scale. This segment of HUMBL business will further increase its users and usage of its app to perpetuate its flywheel. With this purchase, HUMBL will gain access to 5,000 venues across the 45 states instantly. He went on to talk about blockchain listing and NFTs with tradable tokens. He also mentioned that HUMBL will focus on nano merchant platform for creators and merchants so that they can monetize and to grow HUMBL brand worldwide. Brian also touched base on HUMBL Shop, which is now generating a 6-figure sales monthly and will launch HUMBL limited signature merchandise soon. He also mentioned that they continue to build their hybrid asset following the Alibaba's Ant financial model, which is focusing on the little guys. Brian also mentioned HUMBL ETX, which is outperforming a lot of the ETF and managed fund worldwide. Lastly, he summarized what HUMBL has accomplished on the roadmap, with the exception that HUMBL mobile app was delayed in order to meet legal, regulatory, and compliance. Note that it has already been approved for the App Store. Basically, to date, HUMBL has executed everything mentioned on the roadmap. I strongly encourage you to listen to what Brian Foote has stated in his own words, as my summary may have left out a lot of details. So here's Brian Foote's Q1 2021 shareholders meeting slides and recording. Enjoy.
Thanks, George. We appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. George, we want to thank you for walking us through this process. It was a kick for me to open up CNBC today and type in TSNP, and there's HUMBL Inc. right there on CNBC. So it's super cool to see that. For those folks in the audience that aren't familiar with the process, it's laden with regulatory and compliance and legals and intricacies that you have to just kind of step through. We have a spreadsheet of hundreds of actions that you need to go through this process to try to bring value to the existing Tesoro shareholders, and then also the HUMBL contingent as well. So we're looking forward to putting everybody together in the same room and moving forward on behalf of the brand and the shareholders. So thank you again for the opportunity to represent you. We're shareholders alongside you, so our value is created in the same way. Okay, so what is HUMBL? So HUMBL is a Web3 platform, meaning we're trying to build on all the cool stuff that's occurred in the internet and cloud and mobile in the technology cycles preceding us. So what we see, in these cycles is that you have these step function technologies that sit underneath these brands. So in this case, top of mind would be the FANG group of stocks that have absolutely crushed it over the last decade or so. But a lot of their through lines and DNA started many years ago, if not decades ago. So we ask as we move forward with HUMBL that you join us on a long-term journey. Sometimes, we'll have products that we delay by a few weeks, or products that we're not able to roll out because of regulatory intricacies or compliance concerns. And, I think what I've said to you guys from the beginning is, look, if we do okay on our capital formation constructs, and we do okay on sticking to really good regulatory and compliance and legal, then we'll be fine, because we're a group that will always come to work in the morning and be the last to leave. So I think, we don't have the capital of big tech, but human innovation and effort are free. And we've got a lot of stock that we're putting to work for trying to create value. So that's kind of where we're at with this thing is we're trying to build on top of what our ancestors have built, Web 1 in the 1970s and 80s, bringing forward sort of that baseline layer of the internet, and then thinking about how companies built on top of that, like Apple. Then you have sort of Web 2 coming online with Amazon, where you take that base layer of the internet and start putting people together to transact, whether it was selling a book or proliferating that across a marketplace environment. And then you have things here in 2020 like blockchain that have really cool implications for peer-to-peer commerce and new networks of economic value to the global economy. So that's what we're trying to package up in really simple sort of one-click formats. There's a ton of cool stuff going on in fintech and blockchain, but a lot of it's in flare-up capacities. Like if you look at the internet in the 90s, you had these little individual pets.com sites where everybody was selling one thing because they were told to just sell one thing. But in fact, the play was actually to sit on top of that and package it up into one click between two peers or a merchant and a customer. So that's what we're doing here at HUMBL, and we look forward to joining you on the ride. Okay, so what is HUMBL? It's a Web3 platform. So we're taking things like mobile, marketplaces, and financial, which we think silo bust over the next couple of years as regulation starts to meet innovation in the middle. And we're here to build that. So right now you'll see some stuff that we do in individual silos. That's not necessarily as elastic or synthetic as I envision it in the product meetings. But it's just something we need to do, like I said, until the regulatory side or some of the compliance pieces shake out as we figure out our new normal. We're in a mixed state now where you have these hybrid asset classes that are sort of gnashing with each other, trying to figure out how to mate. And that's what HUMBL is here to do and help package that. So sort of the three ways we're structuring the business, just from a divisional standpoint, would be the mobile applications piece, the marketplace piece, meaning nano merchants, where we see huge growth coming online, and then lastly financial. So selling financial services and products in behind these install bases that will be growing very rapidly over the coming year. So a great case study of that was Alipay in China, where they moved a majority of folks into mobile wallet systems by offering high interest rates, an easy way for merchants to take digital forms of payment rather than cash, and then financial services behind that. So Ant Financial, thousands of financial partners and products that plug in behind this install base. So fortunately, we've kind of been able to get in the film room and study how to run this offense, and we think there's a lot of countries that could benefit from HUMBL coming in and providing those opportunities. okay, so here's the Humble Pay piece, here's the marketplace piece, and here's the financial piece. And as we walk the path here together, I'll have to repeat this less so that we have to do, I just want to try to do this early for people that are joining us for the first time. I notice all of our socials ticking up. And so I want to just kind of repeat our initial foundational process a couple of times until we really know our base and where the ceiling is on that. So again, Humble Pay, Humble Marketplace, and Humble Financial are the three things that we're building out and that we hope will be synthetic over time across those silos. So the three target audiences that we're seeking to serve over the coming decade would be consumers, which there'll always be consumers, freelancers, which is the fastest growing segment of the economy. So these are millennials, Gen Z, even some Gen X that want to work from wherever they are. So the ability to pay for things that they're doing, a yoga class online or a hiking tour in person. These are critical functions of being able to support new economic pathways. So freelancers are a big component of what we're doing for our service lines that we're building out, both organically and through trusted partners. And then lastly, merchants. So we see a big recovery coming online over the next 18 months. The human being is resilient, and we can't wait to see a hockey stick recovery coming out of COVID. So we think brick and mortar comes back. We'll have plenty of tools around ratings and review and discovery that go beyond cash or receipt printers from previous decades of commercial cycles. So we're trying to create an elastic layer that sits across these ecosystems and binds people together through Humble. Okay, so here's kind of a live look at the mobile application. We tried to just throw out anything that had been done in Web 1 and Web 2 and reinvent it from the ground up. We have gotten approval in App Store for the app. There's a couple of things from a regulatory and a legal and a compliance standpoint that gave me a little bit of pause. So bear with us over the next 4 to 6 weeks about how we figure out some things. I want to make sure we have our legals really buttoned up. Just in terms of how we're rolling out this product. As I say, we take a 20 to 30 year view on the business. I don't want to, come out 3 weeks too early and commit some foot fault that we're paying for with, any kind of legal or compliance concerns. So bear with us there, but note that the app is being stress tested in beta behind the scenes by a really terrific tech team and QA teams and agencies that have built some of the apps you would recognize. At any given time, we're 30 or 35 people now at Humble. I think, our technology team, the engine inside is just fantastic. So very blessed to have these guys online with us, and they're doing a great job. So the app is living. It's in App Store. It's been approved, but we want to just try to get a little bit of guidance on a couple of features that I'm a little bit just not hesitant about, but wanting to get more clarity. So what are we doing in terms of the merchant connection layer? So one of the things we did is we built map and discovery features. I think in the United States, we're a little bit fat and happy about what we think the commercial layer is like out there. But there's many other countries where, Google reviews or Yelp or even just hardware and receipt printers are just not the majority way of being able to communicate in commerce. So what we're trying to build is not, I hand you a bill as a proxy for an exchange, or you hand me a receipt and you never see me again. We think that the proxies for exchange could become more elastic, and that's what we're trying to build at Humble, is an elastic layer that connects people in a discovery cycle, as well as ratings and reviews, and then a binary connection that goes with you so that you remember where you went to empanadas the last time or coffee. So we think we can build this out for multiple markets and have a way to, kind of put these things in your pocket and go with you, so that when you get off the airplane or just down the street, you have a better, more elastic experience than just being handed a receipt or cash and coins, which we just see dying out over the coming years. We'll also scale up into financial services, so both outbound referrals, but then also owned and operated products over time. We're working very hard with our U.S. banking partners to try to move forward on the things they need to begin issuing us some of the accounts that we need, the FBO, and the API plugins that we have coming online as well with other networked partners to be able to execute. So more coming here. I think you'll see HUMBL branded cards, HUMBL branded product lines more over time, but certainly supporting a broad fintech ecosystem of stuff, companies that do stuff way better than we do, that we need to bring in and offer to the consumer in one click. So, and then lastly, the peer-to-peer piece. We think this is a really important part of our mix. We have a number of partners that have built networks around the world that can move money very rapidly and for a low cost for the consumer. So we have those folks teed up. I like to say we have contracts for the engine that you would need to run Formula One. We're the car and the tires and the brand and everything that sits around that. But again, just the U.S. has some additional layers of regulatory and compliance complexity that we need to navigate with our banking partners to make sure that we don't get out of the gates too quick on some of the cars we have built. So we're tracking very well to continue to release this product in Q2, as stated in our first month 1 and month 2 conference calls. So excited about that. And then one thing that Javier and I like to talk about that he brought forward to me as I think a really important point is that peer-to-peer cash and peer-to-peer payments are quite useless if you're just getting it on a mobile phone on the other end. So one of the things we're accounting for is HUMBL merchants and then HUMBL hubs where, if you get digital cash, say I'm, in Utah and I send cash to my cousin in Tonga, if that cousin doesn't have a place to spend the digital cash that he or she received at the merchant layer, then you're stuck. You still got to go do the regional banking layer, the oppressive fees, cash out. So it's quite an encumbrance. So in this case, what we're defining is the ability to not only receive inbound pure cash on our trusted third-party partner networks, but also be able to then pay at the merchant with that. So that's what we envision for the end state over the coming years, and we think it's a smarter financial grid for our global economy. So we're excited to have HUMBL play a part in that if we can. So here's kind of the full funnel technology stack. We've got a lot of hype around HUMBL over the last couple months, but I want to try to really start to get technical on the execution pieces of taking the field and playing to win. So there's the discovery layer, right, which is what I was showing you guys with the maps and the ratings and the reviews and some of the social pieces. There's the merchant layer, so not having to cash out into physical bills and coins to pay a merchant as a proxy for consumption. So getting a digital merchant layer integrated there, and then the individual, so peer-to-peer commerce that blockchain can be very powerful for, but banking, credit, lending, serving all those products inbound through HUMBL Financial is a great opportunity. So we'll go into that a bit later in the piece, but I wanted to show everybody kind of the pancake stack of what we're building out. Again, it's quite simple, but if we execute, we think we can serve customers really well. And again, I think what's so exciting about what we're doing at HUMBL is not just that we envision an Alipay-like super app for other countries that do not have that, but also that it's customizable. And I really want to take my hat off to our tech team. We were responding to an RFP for an Asian government that is going to be moving 20 million transactions a day onto a super app for their country, right? I think it's a bellwether of what's coming for many other countries. We responded to that. We're in the final 5 for that. But what we figured out was that you kind of need to build these things like power adapters, meaning the transportation system in a certain country is going to be quite different than the transportation system in another country. And if you ever travel, you throw those power adapters into your suitcase to be able to plug in wherever you land. And that's exactly how we have identified HUMBL. So I think that the 4 core vectors that you'll see us playing in would be that merchant discovery, ratings, reviews, smarter than cash, smarter than receipt printers. The second thing would be peer-to-peer commerce. So just listing things on a marketplace as a nano merchant, or getting deeper into things like blockchain tokenization and NFTs, to be able to perform more binary commerce of new asset classes that we see coming online, beyond stocks and bonds, particularly in this interest rate environment. And then secondly, we've got the ticketing piece where, we see a pretty unlimited ceiling in ticketing, about $100 billion a year opportunity, not including transportation ticketing. So we see a big plug-in opportunity with ticketing, and then lastly, delivery. So I think the former two elements, on the left, you will see us building owned and operated, and then leaning into network partners. Think of that like T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon for the mobile layer. We're doing the same thing for the economic layer. And then lastly, the delivery piece. So this is what we're building at HUMBL. It's quite simple, but I think if we serve these verticals very well into different markets, we'll be able to provide a very strong, unique value proposition for customer. Okay, so the stage one that we are working on, again, we've got those maps, the ratings, reviews, that's loaded up in the App Store, but queued, because we're awaiting some guidance on some processing elements of that package. Peer-to-peer coming online, we have the partner set up for that with really expansive, intelligent network grids ready to serve us. Just finalizing some things with our U.S. banking partners, and we're excited to work with them on moving that forward. And then lastly, HUMBL Hub. So this is a critical piece. A lot of money still moves around at the base layer in some countries through service lines that are in person. So we're going to be envisioning how these off-ramps look so that people don't have to go get cash to pay at a merchant, getting them smartphone ready to be able to point and pay within a network grid that isn't bifurcated by brand or by credit card, but rather is silo neutral and has the ability to plug in like that power adapter model. So that's what we're building. Okay, so I know that we had mentioned there would be some big news today. This for me is our crown jewel acquisition. In a way, it's an acqui-hire and a merger as well. I've gotten the opportunity over the past, I've known him for 10 years, but I've gotten the opportunity to work over the last 3-4 months with Javier Gonzalez, our CTO. So he has joined us, full time here to make this effort go forward. And I've just been so impressed by the level of detail and quality that he has. There's a lot of us at the building that sleep under our desk right now, and he's right there. This guy is doing stand-ups at 8 a.m. He's working till 4 a.m. And in the meantime, he's spent the last 10 years building one of the top ticketing businesses as well that has some great SaaS platforms and some box office suites and some ticketing engines. So we're extremely excited to announce today a $20 million stock and cash acquisition for Tickery that sees Javier joining us full time. His brother Juan Gonzalez joins us as well, where we'll be doing some partnerships with certain verticals that we're already in discussions with. So again, it's just extremely exciting. We see a hockey stick recovery occurring here coming out of COVID. The pulse we are getting on the demand for ticketing is incredible. These guys have built in just an ironclad software and ticketing platform to be able to do this. So we'll keep the brand intact with Tickery for our Latin American and Caribbean pursuits, but we'll be leaning into some of the acquired technology. We're already in talk with sports and stadiums and festivals here in the United States, in Oceania, in Latin America. So we're really excited to put this technology to work under HUMBL Ticketing or in the Latin American markets under Tickery. So really excited about this, instant install base. So these guys are already contracted with 5,000 organizers at venues around the United States. So you may have already done business with them if you're in the Latin American community. And they have a instant footprint that HUMBL will be taking on in 45 states. So again, really proud to be a steward of this brand alongside Javier and Juan and their team, who are just uber talented. So it's just, I mean, for us, this is a crown jewel acquisition in the sense that we think ticketing has extreme upside, both in terms of the requests we've been getting for RFPs around things like mass transportation, but then also vertical markets, in things like stadiums, sports, music, festivals, theater, comedy, about a $100 billion a year opportunity. We looked at the big player in ticketing and saw a massive air pocket underneath that for that $100 billion grab. So we think we're going to go right at it with HUMBL, and we want to be able to serve this as a one-touch way of serving contactless venues, presenting your QR code at the ticket entrance, paying for a beer or some merchandise inside a stadium or a festival. We don't want you to have to leave HUMBL. We also think that as these hundreds of thousands of venues around the world need to go contactless, you saw the NFL Super Bowl was contactless. We think every stadium, venue, arena, theater, museum, everything is going to need to go contactless. And we think there's going to be one major application winner that serves that business. We don't think it's economically or consumer experience wise intelligent for each venue to build their own app. So we think HUMBL has a great entry point to do that. Also of note is that, the ticketing market is different. When you get out of North America, which is a contractual model, meaning I have the contract for your venue and I issue you the tickets. When you get out of North America, you're in places like LATAM, for example, it's an allocation model, which means you have these hundreds of hubs. If that sounds familiar. You have these hundreds of hubs where tickets are allocated and people still go in to get a service, top up on wireless, pay a bill, and in this case, come in and buy a ticket. So what we're trying to do is create those HUMBL hubs where you see a poster in the window, you can walk in there and get a great service that is then tethered to the HUMBL app so that you can walk in and have a contactless experience at that stadium or that festival or that music concert, things like that. So these guys have worked with amazing brands, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, some of these just incredible artists that are the hottest in the world right now, as well as activations. So instant sponsorship and revenues, Boost Mobile, Heineken, these sorts of things. So we've already had pretty amazing conversations within both the influencer layer, but then also the venue layer and the sport layer and the entertainment layer to build this business into HUMBL very rapidly. I think, one of the other notes, one of my advisors was telling me, sometimes big tech buys these businesses and then they just sit there because they get their innovation layer stops. They get tucked into a bigger company and it kind of dies out. I think what's really cool at HUMBL is, not only do you have C-levels that are already working inside the business and know this very intimately, but I think also, we are going to be putting this to work inside the application within weeks. So that's what's cool about it too, is like, we know if a customer opens HUMBL, we want them booking a ticket. We want them presenting HUMBL at the gate. We want them using HUMBL inside the venue. And we want them, having a perpetual flywheel of being able to have those experiences inside one app that makes it a lot simpler and a lot sexier to be able to participate in this hockey stick recovery that we're going to see out of COVID. So again, it's a huge honor. Like, I'm totally stoked to be a part of this brand and to help shepherd it with my contacts into the global markets. It's amazing how exciting ticketing is and how many phone calls we're already getting from people about this potential opportunity with Tickery. So again, concerts, events, festivals, arenas, sport, casinos, it's all stuff we're going to chase down against the clear number one and see if we can come in as a clear number two, as a, not only a Live Nation for Latin America, but many other regions as well, with whom we're already in discussions about the concept of ticketing. Okay, a couple more things we want to just clear up and then we'll be on our way. So the second thing is that we have the marketplace piece. That's actually doing some really cool stuff. So you'll start to hear an acronym, NFTs, coming online in the coming months, years, basically tokenizing things. So memorabilia, tickets, secondary ticketing markets. in this case, we did a photography stunt this week where we had wonderfully donated pieces from one-of-one pieces from a photographer with whom we're friends in Hollywood. And he donated some of his pieces to raise for St. Jude. You guys bought these pieces. You'll get something in the mail signed by him with a QR code and some origin assurance that shows kind of the tracing of these things on blockchain. So you'll start to see these tradable tokenization around new asset classes that make things tradable, accountable. So you'll see some fun things starting to come online there in the same way that you could buy a box of delivery on Amazon in Web 1. Web 2 is going to be able to be trade, track, pay in a synthetic capacity on blockchain between your peers or people you've never met, but that maybe have a trusted reputation online. So we're really excited to build this out, and we think we're on our way to doing an eBay for blockchain in this respect. And again, the ticketing on the authenticated secondary ticketing bids, a lot of places to play there for the marketplace. Again, nano merchants were in the final mile of a discussion with an ex-Google group from Asia that's developing a merchant listings platform for nano merchants and influencers to be able to monetize themselves as brands. So we're excited to potentially announce that platform over the next coming 7 to 10 days. Again, nothing guaranteed, but we think we're on track to build in a nano merchant platform inside this that will be novel for creators, influencers, and then also folks who are just doing really cool stuff, which is some of our merchants that have novel items that they want to sell. The HUMBL shop, doing great, 6 figures of merchandise going out of the door every month. So that caught us a little by surprise. So we're a little flattered about that, but we'll keep cranking it out as long as you guys buy it. So we will be doing some special collections and some things around that NFT layer. So I've got a pretty cool skateboard back here that's going to be signed by someone special and some other things that we're going to put up as hot sales online. So stay in touch with the brand online and social media. We're going to get more active on the flywheel, but we'll be doing some really cool stuff with blockchain tokenization and trading. We've built out a bid engine that's going to be coming online to do bidding. So you'll see some really cool stuff happening there within the layer of the merchandise. And then lastly, our sort of hybrid asset management piece with financial. Again, this is a lot like Ant Financial, where you don't want to build all these things that drive big customer base and then not serve people with high quality products at a good price. So that's what HUMBL Financial is intended to do. We also wanted to show our stuff in blockchain because we've been in the lab here for a while, building out some cool products that we think can outperform mutual funds and ETFs over time. So again, these are not available to the United States and they are not being marketed to U.S. customers when I show this slide. However, it is our desire to try to bring them forward. So we will be exercising all options to be able to try to bring these things home. I've always seen HUMBL Financial as potentially a digital bank. So there's some things we may do on the acquisition side to try to make that happen. We'd like to try to be, a financial layer that sits inside the application for our customers. And we think we can do some cool stuff with high interest rates. We think we can do high interest rates for you, not us. We think we can do some things with our financial products. It has been frustrating to see tens of thousands of customers being, over 10,000 customers being kicked out of this from the US because they can't do it, right? So we, I think in our first month, we had almost 15,000 customers come and try to buy into this product line within the first several weeks. So it's very frustrating, right? You work really hard to develop these products that, are outperforming many available financial products in the world. And your US customer wants to buy them in one click and they can't do it. So we're going to be trying to partner very deeply with regulatory and legal and compliance to find ways to bring these cool products home. I mean, I think they have a huge value. Markets have done very well. If you look at the NYSE and the NASDAQ, markets have done really well when they have good multi-factor indexes, good one-click investment products that encourage people to hold a basket of assets and diversify. So we'd like to try to offer these up if there's any way that we can. And so, I don't know what we have to do. We're exploring every option, but, Wyoming has some cool stuff coming online with regulatory. There's maybe some broker dealer options. So we're working on some things. So give us time, but we're pulling the thread very quickly. So those are those. I can't show these for too long, but it's just something that we're doing here against the index and the active and the thematic product lines that we have designed and are ready to put to work either through partners or through our own owned and operated efforts. Okay, so just in terms of the company roadmap, again, we're bringing the mobile app online here, sort of at the choice point of Q1 or Q2. I don't want to promise a hard date just because there's some, there's some flexibility there. So we're always trying to bring stuff forward. I had said in our December call that the app wasn't launching until Q2. Trying to pull it forward into Q1, but we're not going to do anything that suffers regulatory or compliance. So we'll try to get it going. And certainly we have a living version of it in the App Store ready to go. And I will push it as hard as I can while still being a livable person to be around still. So we'll try that. Then we have the agent locations with the HUMBL hubs and the ticketing. I can't wait to show you guys, I think, what we can do on the partnership side in this $100 billion ticketing market inside the application. So I'm really excited to put to work some of my Rolodex and others that we know around here. So, and then we'll go after key verticals over time. I had always said that I thought government RFPs would come online maybe, late this year or early next year. We're seeing them come forward now. So that's kind of interesting and a good sign, I think, for digital commerce. The marketplace is just listings. We want to do some cool stuff with NFTs and blockchain. So we'll toy around the edges there within our regulatory guidelines and guidance from our legal firms. And then lastly, financial. We've launched these 18,000 lines of code, these ETXs. We need to market them a bit, but I really want to bring those home if we can. So trying to figure out ways to do it, and we'll be creative and thoughtful about how to do that. No promises, but we're certainly going to try. And I think the regulatory environment is opening up to blockchain. And so we are here, and we're excited to talk to anyone who would have interest in an innovation layer here in the United States to bring that forward. So that's what we'll be doing. And then the financial services and so on that sit behind that, both on blockchain and through fiat currencies. So again, the strategic roadmap, can't wait till Q4 when we're all having a beer somewhere at the HUMBL shareholder conference. But meantime, I think we've executed on everything we said we were going to do, if not more. We had talked about, trying to hunt a banner acquisition. We've accomplished that today. So again, we feel very fortunate that we were able to do that. We've launched HUMBL Financial, as I say, the ticker symbol with HUMBL today, seeing that come forward on some of the finance sites was neat to see that on CNBC. That's HUMBL Inc. So that was cool. And we'll look forward to seeing the true ticker there within the next 30 days. We are finalizing some country rights. We do have one document signed. I'm not prepared to disclose that today. But we are finalizing some country rights. We think there's sincere amplification effects for us to partner with folks like multifamily offices that have access to banks and wireless and telecom and casinos and amphitheaters and hotels and wineries. All the things that will require ticketing or potential fractionalization on the blockchain. We have just been very fortunate to be contacted by some multifamily offices in Latin America and Oceania that have taken a keen interest watching these investor calls and learning about HUMBL, or people we knew in the past as well. And I think you'll see us coming out with some country rights announcements here very shortly, which should be great because, when you have a trusted set of tactical distributors in a region, they can just move us so much faster as a brand than we ever could. So we're getting really authentic guidance about how to go into markets as well as foot power to go and do that in those markets. So Q2 will be about getting this mobile app pushed out. We're trying to pack in as many features as we can. The tech really isn't a problem for us. It's just a matter of legal, regulatory compliance, some liquidity aspects, and then how much of the blockchain we can include and not based on those considerations. We'll have the ticketing integration very rapidly into the app and to the web platform through secondary markets. And then Jeff is working like crazy on the audited financials and these marathon statements I see coming through my inbox. So he's doing great on those, and our thanks to the internal teams for everything they're doing. We're actually ahead of schedule on Q3 in terms of responding to major RFPs from in this case, a national government. We think more coming. I think you'll see a lot more national governments migrating their currency into digital formats, at least a portion of it. And they're going to need a mobile application with which to serve those customers. So that'll be an interesting development. And then, of course, the Q4 shareholder conference where we'll have some fun. So thank you again for the opportunity to represent you as shareholders. We also are shareholders, and we hope to have a very long-term run of it here with you all in the best of ways. So thank you to my internal team as well, who's just working their tails off, and I really appreciate that. I know I'm hard on everybody, but I just want to thank you guys for how hard you've been working, and much more to come and a lot of blue sky ahead. So thank you very much. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one. Happy Friday.
So there you have it. If you find the content of value, please leave a comment below. Do share, like, and subscribe if you have not already done so. Also hit the notification bell for my next video. Now let's go make some moolahs.